y'all, it's Hope here at Crafty Up and welcome. Today I'm working on a design of something that's not jewelry, using some of the beads I received from Jesse James Beads as a design ambassador. They sent me this May 2022 Treasure Trove Magical Mystery Bead Box, and it had some gorgeous things in it. And I was showing them off to my husband, and we were looking at this gorgeous ceramic focal. And when I was talking about it, I was like, you know, it would be really beautiful as a fan pull. And he was like, oh yeah, that would be really nice to replace some of the ugly fan pulls we have in this house, because we live in the South, and so we have ceiling fans in almost every room because it's hot, y'all. It's hot in South Alabama. So our fans run all the time, so we don't use the pulls a whole lot, but they're still there dangling and ugly. So I'm gonna try to make a fan pull. I have not done this particular way before, but we're gonna go for it. Now, almost all of my fan pulls have a ball chain on them, so it's like this. Now, the one I'm gonna try to replace is a bigger gauge, I guess, of chain than this, but I've tested it on the connector and it works just fine. So make sure if you try this to test everything out that it's gonna work with the components you have in your house. So let me tell you what I've got. I have an extra long ball end head pin just to kind of carry through that ball theme. I've got that beautiful ceramic focal, and then I've got two gold spacer beads and a couple other beads that came out of, let's see, the spacers came from the, which one is this? This is the Under the Sea mix from the Treasure Trove kit, and then the other two beads came, sorry, yeah. And the other two beads came from the Treasure Trove mix from the Treasure Trove May 2022 Magical Mystery Bead Box. Whew, lots of words there, y'all. Then I have my ball chain. This is a 2.4 millimeter ball chain. And I've got the connector just to show you what those connectors look like. I'm not going to be using this connector. But just when you buy your ball chain, make sure it comes with it in case you do need it. And then I've got about 5 inches of 22 gauge brass wire. This is just hardware store wire. And then I have a clamshell bead crump cover. So I am going, this is the magical key ingredient. I have seen somebody use this before. I cannot remember who it is. I want to thank them, whoever it is, because I'm not sure that this would work out without it. So I am going to talk my way through this. That does make it longer, but I may clip and move things around as we go. So the first thing I'm going to do, simply because I do not need it for this design, is clip off this loop. You see that loop that's on this clamshell? So I'm going to clip that off with my clippers. I'm going to put that aside. Now the back of the clamshell has a hole in it, and that is our key ingredient for this. This clamshell will fit over the ball of my ball chain, but I need to add some wire to make it hook. Anyway, you'll see what I'm doing. So I'm going to take my 22 gauge wire, put a little bit of a tail over it, and then try to wrap it at least one time around that space between the two balls. So, and I'm gonna bring in my tweezer nose pliers to help me make sure I get that on there nice and tight. All right, and that is wrapped at least one time around. I'm gonna see if I can go just a little bit more to make sure it's secure. It's so fiddly, y'all, so this could take some patience. All right, now I'm gonna trim off that tail there as best I can and try to tuck it just a little bit more down. All right, and then this longer end, I'm gonna go ahead and put it toward the base of that, so it is like part of the pull. So then I'm going to slip that into that hole in the bend of that clamshell and slide it up. And then I'm going to take my chain nose pliers and close that clamshell over that ball. If I can get my pliers right where I want them. So I'm going to do this little by little to make sure I get it in there. Use my fingers a little, and I'm going to readjust the wire as needed. And I am just going to work at this. This should work. I tried it on a tester piece, but I think I may have gotten my wire too big here. I'm going to try that some more. Just work at it. Alright, it took a little bit of forcing, but it is mostly closed. Now I have smashed in that clamshell, but that's fine. It is holding on and covering up that messy wrap and all of that. So what I want to do on this other end really, and y'all, this 5 inches of wire was far too much, but all I want to do is make a wrapped loop. So I'm going to make a wrapped loop here. And I'll have a link up here to my tutorial on making wrap loops, since I forgot to talk y'all through that. But you make your 90-degree angle, you wrap it around your round nose pliers, and then you wrap around your stem here. Now I'm going to try to go over this clamshell just a little bit to make it even more secure. I'm making such a big messy wrap, and that is fine with me. All right. So that is a big messy wrap. I'm going to trim that like so and tuck it. Alright, so now I have this piece of ball chain with a loop at the bottom, which is all I needed. Now there are other things you can buy probably at the hardware store and whatnot that have the little loops, but I'm using what I have, so you use what you have. Alright, so I'm using my extra long ball end head pin here. I'm going to slip on this daisy spacer, my big ceramic focal. Now I could have it go either way, I suppose, but I think with the fan pull, I really like it pointing down because it feels like you could put your hands here and pull, though I wouldn't pull very hard. And then the other spacer, and then I've got my 2 beads that I've picked out that go with this. I think really accent the colors within that big focal. Alright, so I've got that, and then I'm going to again take, and this time I'll walk you through a wrap loop. So I'm going to put my round nose pliers up against that top bead, bend my wire just like that. So there's a little bit of space between the bead and your wire where it bends. Then turn your round nose pliers so that you can wrap a loop all the way around that plier, that round plier. Just like that. So you have a loop. Now I'm going to open that loop just a smidge so I can slip it on the loop here at the bottom of our chain. Then I'm going to, and actually I want to use my regular chain nose pliers since this is some hefty wire. So I'm going to close that. I'm going to hold my loop here and then wrap in that space between my loop and my bead. I'm going to do that a couple times. I'm going to make sure everything's nice and secure and not moving around a whole lot. And I'm going to take some nippers. I don't want to use, since this is heavier, I don't want to use my delicate wire cutter, so I'm going to use these. I have to work it just a little bit. So I'm going to cut that off and then try to tuck that end of that wire just like that. Alright y'all, and now I have a fancy smancy beautiful fan pull using my Jesse James beads. I cannot wait to hang this in my living room. I will have some pictures of it hanging there when I can get some good light. But let me know if y'all have any questions. This was really super easy once you play with that wire just a little bit to get it on there. And there, like I said, there are attachments you can find at the hardware store for the end of your ball chain that might make it a lot easier. I was just using what I had, which was some of these clamshells that I thought might work. So good luck, have fun. Let me know if you try this or if you have any questions. If you like this, give me a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe and come back later and see what else I'm making. All right, y'all. Bye.